Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive SH Figuarts Goku. This is the one with the kanji on his gi, which is right there on the front and on the back. And he of course does have some different coloring and an alternate headpiece from the standard Goku. Before we get into it though, let's look at the packaging. So this is the Comic-Con exclusive packaging. Let me close that up so you can see it, how it would look on the shelf. That's the exclusive packaging. It's orange and yellow rather than red and black. That's the standard Goku. You can see the face is different, and then we have the different face still on the side there. Different poses on the back, and a different pose on that side. Now to compare the two Gokus, old one is on the left, that's the standard release. Comic-Con is on the right, obviously. The old one has the much lighter orange, almost like a macaroni and cheese color orange. This orange is really dark, like a really dark pumpkin-y orange, almost reddish. And then the blues are darker as well. Skin tones are very similar. I wouldn't say it's enough to even worry about mentioning. And then the hair, it's a little bit darker on the new release, but still basically the same thing. And then of course the kanji, and then the belt. The belt is different, and we'll talk about that as we go through the figure. Then lastly the boots. The boots are much darker, and then instead of red lining we have yellow, and instead of a rope colored tie we have an orange colored tie. That's the only difference as far as the main figure. Then the alternate headpiece that's new is this one, which is like kind of an angry headpiece, which you'll see in the poses at the end of the video, so you can see what that looks like. Everything else in here is the same. We have the exact same batch of hands. All of the other heads are the same. That's where the new head goes. Then the Kamehameha is the same also. So we don't need to go through all of that. Let's go through this figure though, just in case you're not familiar completely. I'll run through the articulation really quickly. It's a ball hinge for the head. You can pretty much get the head posed however you want to. It's just going to take a little bit of finagling. The neck has a ball peg which lets the neck move around. It's usually really stiff. You're going to have to break that in. Shoulders have a ball peg in the torso that lets it move around. Hinge for the shoulder itself, and a little ball peg for the sleeve here to hide the joint. We have a bicep swivel here, still the same old shoulder design, which hopefully will eventually get replaced with a new one. Double jointed elbow gives you better than 90 degrees, so that's really good. Ball hinge for the wrist also, but you don't have a huge range of motion, so you're not going to get the greatest poses out of the hands, but I think it's probably good enough. I've heard some people complain about it. I'm okay with it. For the torso, we still have that extending torso with a ball peg going into the torso itself, so you can move that around. You can still move it around down here, but you're going to be a little more limited. Unfortunately, this new belt, it doesn't hide the joint nearly as well as the old one. As you can see with the old belt, you can pop it out and it still works, and you can move it around, and it still hides the joint pretty well. With the new belt, it's much narrower. You can see right inside, so that's going to be problematic. Also, I don't know why, and I didn't notice it on this one back, unless I did and I just forgot. It's painted blue on the outside and molded in orange. I'm not sure why that is. I'm pretty sure Piccolo's and Gohan's were all painted or molded in the color they needed to be. This one is molded in white and painted also, or molded in orange and then painted, but it should be molded. I don't know why they didn't. It's not a huge deal, but it's something to be aware of. This can be scratched is what I'm getting at. And like I said, it doesn't hide the joints, so you're going to have to keep his torso all the way down pretty much all the time. The kanji on it is done really well. The whites are good, the blacks are good, nice line work. Same thing on the back, looks really good, except mine has a scratch there and a yellow scratch there. So I'm not sure what happened to the quality control on this guy. I mean, I know there are little issues, but still, would have been nice to not have that be there. For the hip articulation, we still have that hinged ball peg, so you can bring the hip down and move the hip all the way around like that. So it's a ball peg in there that moves around in the socket, and then the thigh can swivel around that socket as well. So you get pretty good range of motion out of that. My hip, unfortunately, was stuck on the inside, so it has kind of a blemish on there. Not the best situation, but it's not horrible. Same old knees, still not great. Really hope they replace this old dated knee joint on any future figures. I know Gohan's probably going to have the same ones, but anything like the Boo ones, I really hope they get rid of this joint. It's just so ugly and it bounces against itself. It just doesn't belong on the Figuarts anymore. It worked fine back then, but now that they're so much better engineered, it'd be nice to see an updated primary body that they keep using. For the ankles, double ball peg really, so Not the greatest range of motion, but enough to put him in the stances you need. And then we have a toe hinge. So it's basically the exact same mold for Goku other than the belt, just with some new colorations. It's a really nice figure for sure. I would say if you're a Dragon Ball Z collector, you probably need to track one of these down just because of the kanji on it. Makes it really stand out. Some people, I guess, don't like the darker orange. I think it looks good. It's definitely more anime, in line with the anime than the manga. As you can see, this guy's much lighter. But it's really up to you which one you prefer. They're basically the same figure. I prefer the tie rather than the standard belt, so this definitely is my go-to Goku. But I guess it's not a must-have for some of you guys if you aren't like really serious about collecting, but I would suggest it nonetheless. Alright, let me get him in some poses and you can see what he looks like here in the end of the video, but make sure you subscribe to the channel before you leave so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.